We're recording from Eco Suites Apartahotel in the Oakland neighborhood of Guatemala City, an iconic building inspired by the Rosalila Temple of Copán, a tribute to the ancient Maya world. But today's story takes us to its sister hotel on Lake Atitlán. San Juan La Laguna is now one of the most culturally vibrant towns in Guatemala, and much of its transformation over the past 25 years is closely tied to the quiet, consistent work of Francisco, founder of Eco Suites Uxlabil and former UNICEF Communications and Information Officer, where he served for 22 years. When Francisco first arrived more than 2 decades ago, San Juan was a small lakeside village, roughly a quarter of its current size.
One of the most original towns of this country, Guatemala. I have been in contact with that community for almost 25 years. And when I arrived there, when we started to organize oosh-la-BEEL hotels, that was a kind of village, small town. I would say 1/4 of the size it has now. And one of the first things I did was to visit one painter, because as an artist, I am writer, I look for my colleagues in other aspects. When I visited Antonio Coche, he was starting to create in his living room the first painters gallery. Now, 25 years later, there are no less than 50 painters who usually are considered primitivist or naive. And now I used to say that the painting of San Juan La Laguna is the most qualified painting of all Latin America in that specific area, or naive painting. Similar happens with the weavers. When we arrived, there were one group of weavers who were having some troubles, very simple machines. Now, after being in contact with them for many years and having their visits to sell their weaving in the hotel, and not to everybody, we say, no, we want our guests to visit and buy to you, making bargaining direct, so we don't sell nothing. And now there are 22 groups of weavers. The characteristic, the most important issue is that they don't use chemicals to dye or put color. They use different kind of roots of plants, herbs, fruits, or envelope of trees to give color to the cotton. It is a kind of magic thing to see how they prepare the cotton to be dyed in hot water, because as much hot is the water, darkest is the color they get. Like that happens with other groups like the fishermen. Unfortunately, it's the opposite in that case. They use nest to fish, and now scarcely they get for the dinner of the family some fishes. San Juan La Laguna then is being developed. Small volcano they have on the surrounding of the town, they have converted in Mirador, a place to climb, but painted all these steps so that when you arrive there, you see the whole Lake of Atitlán, the town, and many other areas. So I used to invite people to go there and to guarantee that if you go to Uxlabil Hotel and visit the lake and San Juan, you will not want to come back.
Francisco's story is not simply the story of a hotel. It is a story of a town transformed through art, weaving, heritage, and the commitment of a man who believed in San Juan La Laguna long before the world discovered its beauty.